Hi, welcome to a quick tutorial training on how to use the Google Calendar Reminders feature. And as probably most of you that know me know, I'm highly organized to a fault, probably. That's probably the German heritage in me. And since way back in the day, I've been using some kind of reminder system. You know, the old adage about you run the system runs your business or runs your life. And if it's not, put down on paper or put down in some form, you're going to forget it. Plus, it frees you up to not try to remember things. You know, the old adage about the biggest lie I tell myself is I'll write it down. I'm sorry, I don't need to write it down. And so I've been using reminder systems all the way back since the day timers, if you remember that on paper. And when the first Palm Pilot came out, remember that? One of the major reasons I got the Palm Pilot was for reminders and appointments. You know, the tasks, to-dos, reminders, whatever you want to call it, and then the appointment setting calendar, which is calendar is the same concept. And I've used almost every major system ever. And some systems had both kind of a note-taking reminder system built in, like Evernote, or even Google Keep, which I use a lot. I'll reference that a couple times today. And I've used every kind of system I can. And the one I've settled on, and you never know what's going to be in the future, but the one I've really settled on is the reminders feature that's actually built into the Google Calendar system. And it's interesting that Google doesn't even promote it that much. And they already have themselves have another one or two or three different task systems. But I've almost over the years kind of like accidentally used it sometimes, and they recently made it more robust. That it's fantastic, and it's a great combination of being just enough features to work, but not being overkill. And then, of course, the big one is being persistent across all your devices, right? And so that's the first major benefit of it. And I'm going to get to the details in a second, but I'm going to give you some overview benefits. The first one is that it's connected to your Google account, obviously, and it doesn't matter what kind of Google account, whether it's a G Suite account, like a lot of us here have, your Gmail account, which most people have, or education account. And so it's connected to that. So therefore, wherever that account is, your Google Calendar is, which means your Google Reminders are. So whether it's on your phone, your tablet, your Chromebook, your desktop, your Mac, your Windows, your Linux, your whatever, or even for that matter, your Google Home system, right? If you have a Google Home or Google Home Mini or your Google Assistant on your phone, because that could almost arguably be a whole different system, that's all integrated, which is the killer feature. Okay, so I can set an appointment, which brings my second benefit. I can create a task and appointment, but we're not going to get into appointment setting today. I can create a task, or they call it a reminder, so I'll use that language, but it's all the same: task, reminder, a to-do, whatever you want to call it. So you can set a reminder from your phone. You can set it from your anything web-based, which is, a tablet, a Chromebook, desktop, Windows, Mac, all that stuff, Linux. And you can set it through your Google Assistant system, which is also your phone, but also your Google Home, Google Mini. You can set them up any of those places. You can view them in any of those places. You can mark them done in any of those places, all that stuff. That's the killer feature, or second killer feature. The other one is that not only is it integrated with the Google system, but it's specifically integrated with the Google Calendar. And it makes a lot of sense because a to-do or a task or a reminder is just what it sounds like. It's something to remind you to do something, which in effect is what a calendar is. A calendar is just a normal traditional calendar is a reminder for you to do something, but usually on a specific day and a specific time. So why not put reminders there as opposed to having a separate tab or web app or phone app or system where you put reminders? I mean, they're really just almost a twin or a cousin to a calendar event. They just usually, reminders don't have a time. Some do, and we'll get to that. But usually a reminder is usually on a particular day, or it's like in the near future, right? Maybe your spouse asks you to look into, fixing the closet, and you're going to get some special glue, but it doesn't really matter when, as long as it's the next couple of days. The point is, it's usually not a time, but it's usually a day or in the next coming days, right? So why not put it on a calendar? Makes total sense. And once you get used to the fact that all your reminders and your calendar events are in fact in the same place, man, it's so much easier. It's one less thing you have to worry about. The other two quick benefits, one of them is there's a lot of little features, but the one single little feature that I think is critical, it's important, of all the reminder systems I've used over the years, if a reminder system doesn't have this one feature in particular, I don't care how awesome it is, I'll never use it. It's a requirement, and that is the rollover feature. That is that if you set a reminder to do something tomorrow, and then tomorrow goes by and you haven't done it, the system needs to take that reminder and roll it over to the next day. If it doesn't, there's a high likelihood that you're going to forget it. It's going to get lost completely until you literally remember it up here, which is we never want to rely on. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Now that does mean sometimes your reminders start piling up, right? Because you got 3 reminders for tomorrow. You don't do any of them. Then you got 4 for the next day. Now you actually got 7 because the 3 rolled over and on and on. Well, then start getting through them or start deleting the ones if you're just not going to do them at all. But that rollover feature, and a lot of them have it, but not all of them have it. This one does. And then finally, the other big killer feature here is that the Google Calendar reminder system can really show you reminders from 3 different sources. The Google Calendar itself, which we'll get to today, and then it can also show you reminders from Google Keep notes that you manually added a reminder to. They'll show up here. And as a quick aside, what's the difference in Google Google Reminders, which we're doing today, and Google Notes? Here's the easiest way I can tell you. If it's something that you need to quickly do and you can say it or state it in one sentence, and there's no like extra stuff you have to remember with it, there's no photos you have to add, it's not a project you're doing, it's a reminder. If it's something that requires like more than one sentence or two to remind yourself or explain to yourself what it is, or it's something you want to add more data to, it's like a mini project, or especially if you want to take photos, which is awesome, by the way. Get used to doing it. Take photos of everything and put it in Keep. Then you use Keep. But even Keep, they're called Keep Notes. But even Keep Notes, you can add a reminder yourself. You can say, okay, I got a keep note on maybe this project to fix the door, right? So you got to get glue. You've got to maybe research a quick tutorial on how to properly put the glue on there. So now you already got a couple sentences going. Maybe you're going to do a quick YouTube search and find a couple videos. You don't have time to watch them all right now, but the ones that have the most views and the most thumbs up, you're going to go take the link and put it in the keep note. And then you're going to do Amazon, check for the right glue, get a couple sources. You don't have time to research it deeply, but you want to get the links together, throw them into the keep note. And then you want to remind yourself that on Friday, starting at 5 o'clock when you're done with work, you're going to work on this project. Okay, you get the idea. Well, that reminder that you now set for Friday at 5 would show up on the calendar as a reminder, even though it's not specifically a Google Calendar reminder, it's a Google Note reminder. And then when I guess I could have made one and shown it to you, but I didn't. But it's very simple. When you go to that reminder, you'll see the ones here in a minute. It'll even have a link back to the note. And of course, that'll show up on all your Google calendars, right? Phone, web-based, blah, blah, blah. And thirdly, the Google Calendar can show you reminders that you create from the Google Assistant, which are created from your phone. Actually, some Chromebooks, you can talk to them now and you can do a Google Assistant, and from your Google Home units, which that's really fantastic. I do that all the time. I can't tell you how many times I'm talking to my home units. I even got one in the bathroom in the shower. I can say, hey, Google, remind me in 15 minutes. Actually, my phone just went off. Remind me in 15 minutes to buy cat food. Okay. Or like in the shower, I'll be like, hey, remind me to call George. I got to ask him about, his case design he's going to do next week. And then that reminder pops up on the phone under reminders, Google Assistant reminders. But guess what? It also shows up on the Google Calendar reminders. So all my reminders and my calendar events is all in one place. Okay. So those are the killer features. I actually explained a lot of it already, but let me go through a couple things here visually. So we're talking today in this video about how to create reminders and how to use reminders in the web version of the Google Calendar. So you're in Google Calendar. By the way, you should always have Google Calendar pinned and the tab always open, or not open, but pinned to your Chrome browser. It's part of your desktop. You're going to be going in and out of it all the time. And you click the upper left-hand corner called Create. So you click Create, and then here you have the options right here. See my mouse? And we're not going to go through all these. We're just going to jump the reminder. You're going to go to Reminder, and you might say, work on Johnson's financial plan, right? This is a reminder to yourself. I usually don't worry about spelling and all that. And I want to do it tomorrow, the 10th. And I'm going to click all day, this all day button. Interestingly enough, when you do this on the phone, which I'm going to do a separate video on how to do on the phone, which is actually where I do 99% of my reminders. Most of them I do verbally. I just use the phone. I squeeze it. Google Assistant comes on. I say, the word, okay, Google. I don't want all your old devices to go off. So I say, KO Google. Let me turn it around, and then say, remind me tomorrow to work on the financial plan. Anyway, I'm not going to do the video on the. I'm going to do that later. So here I go. The point is, on the phone, when you set up a reminder, it defaults to all day, which is what it should be. Here it doesn't. I don't know why that is, but it doesn't. So it's an extra click. You click it and you click save. Now what's going to happen is, let's go over to tomorrow. So tomorrow, Wednesday the 10th, we see across the top here, by the way, all my reminders for those particular days. Now what's nice is it's at the top. Let me check something. I did do that just now. That was from before. That was from when I ignored. Let me delete that one. All right. So you see all the reminders across the top. They don't take up all the space, which is just a nice little feature which makes a big difference. Because if this was like here, I have 7 reminders for today, right? So I still got stuff to do tonight. If that was all like listed out one by one, that would just take up too much space. Plus you have all your calendar events, which I turned all my calendar stuff off for the video. But anyway, all you do is click on here and then they pop up, right? So here we see it, work on Johnson's financial plan. Then I have my other ones, right? Now, once it's set up, notice it has a little icon here with the finger and the little bow around it so that you know it's a reminder. Now from here, I can click it done. I can delete it, just get rid of it completely. You might think, what's the difference? I'll show you. And then you can edit. Let's go to edit first. I'm going to go to edit. Now here I can change the name, right? Or change the thing, Johnson's financial plan. I can change the date. I can not make it all day. I can make it for a particular time. Okay. Now when I do a particular, uncheck it, I got to go back here, do the date again, and then the time shows up. Let's do it for, let's say I do want to do it tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Okay. Let me hit save. Now watch what happens. Now it shows up at 1. It's not up here. Up here, it shows me 2 reminders. Remember it said 3. Now it shows me 2. And now, but now at 1 o'clock, I have a reminder. Now, it's a reminder versus a calendar event because one, it's in blue. It's going to be a different color. It's whatever color you set over here in the left-hand side for your calendars. This is just a calendar overlay. And you can turn it off just by checking here in the bottom left. Anyway, notice how it has that icon. If it's a calendar event, it won't have that. So it is different from a calendar event because you can't invite other people. There's no location. There's no Hangouts integration for a meeting, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now here's so I did that. Now, usually I know I found myself 99%, let me say 90%, 9 out of 10 of my to-dos are usually for a particular day, but not a particular time. So most of mine show up across the top. I have occasionally said, no, I need to do this tomorrow specifically at this particular time. And then like this one, it'll remind me on here on the web versions, if this is open, it'll obviously go off on my phone and boom, 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 10 minutes before or whatever, it'll tell me, hey, you got a reminder at 1 o'clock to work on Johnson's plan. Okay. Now from here, when I click it, if I click mark as done, which I can do here, or if I click the reminders up there, I can hover over it and then I can click mark as done, whatever, whichever way. So if I click it and mark as done, watch what happens. It jumps over to today. Here it is. You see it in light blue instead of dark blue, and you see a strike through telling me it's done. So the light blue and the strike through is the giveaway that this was a task or a reminder, and it was completed. What's interesting is that it showed up today. I set it for tomorrow at 1, but when I marked it as done, that was tonight. That was on the Tuesday the 9th that I did it. I kind of like that. So if I go back, a week from now, I look back, I'll go, yeah, I did this on Tuesday. Now, it doesn't give you a lot of details. Like it won't tell me that I actually scheduled it for Wednesday, but did it today. It doesn't go that much in detail. Maybe someday there'll be more details where you can do that. But right now, at least it tells me when it was completed, not when I set it to do it. And I like that very much. Just like if you set a reminder for tomorrow, okay, like for example, these reminders I have today. I have up here, okay, update my client's draft days on sheet. That's something I got to work on. And honestly, I'm not going to do it tonight. It's almost 10 o'clock. I'm not going to. You know what's going to happen? This will automatically show up on tomorrow's reminders, not until midnight. I love that, right? So usually what I do is I go through here, Michelle. I'll just go through here and say, okay, what can I still work on tonight? Okay, I'll do this one. I'll do that one. I'll do this one. And then I'll mark them done. I usually do it on the phone. And then the rest of them roll over for tomorrow and it starts all over again. Okay? That's fantastic. So let me show you something else. Most of it's self-explanatory. Let's see. Here's a reminder for tomorrow. Post Nick Murray around the year. As most of you know that work here, every day we have a Nick Murray posting of the day. And so I have a reminder. I mean, I know to do it, but I still like the pleasure of marking it as done. Now, how did I do that though? Actually, let me create a new one. Here's how I did it. Create a new one. Go to reminders. Let's say post, around the year. Okay. And I'm going to start it tomorrow. This is obviously a fake one because I already have one in here. Now, the big thing is click all day, because it's not about when I do it and what time, just tomorrow. Then here's the key is I click here to the repeat. So I click it on daily and I click save. And oops, what happened? Oh, there it goes. Took a second. 3 reminders. So here it is. Here's the one I did, right? Now, the thing about it is, now watch this. Let's say I did it. Let's say for some reason I posted tomorrow's tonight. So I'm going to click done. So now we see there's only 2 reminders. And if I go to the done reminders, it shows me the 2 dones that I did today, right? But now if I go to Thursday, this is interesting. It shows up right here. See? Because this is the real one. So ignore that one. This is the one I created just now, right? So this one, because I clicked tomorrow's done, the next one popped up. Pretty slick, huh? But I'm going to delete it because that's not real. So I'm not going to mark it done. I'm going to delete the whole reminder, which will delete the series. So I'm going to delete this and the following ones. Yes. So it's totally gone. That is, I'm trying to think. That's actually pretty much it. So from the web version is, now I think about it. There's not too much more that I can tell you about. Let me see. Look at my notes real quick. Yeah, what I could have done is created a Google Note one for you, but it's all the same. It just all shows up the same. The Google Note one will have a link. Let me see if I can do that. Let me create. Actually, I don't want to show all the notes necessarily. Oops, these are all dead. These are all old. Okay. Yeah, that's not the right one. Anyway, you can just try it yourself. You don't need me to do a training. Just go create a Google Keep note. If you're using Google Keep, you probably already tried it, but just know that if you create a Google Keep note and then you add a reminder to it, which by the way is the same symbol as this. Let me see. Maybe I can just do a new note. This should do a new note. Who cares? Well, you can't see that because I'm not recording the screen. Let me do it this way. Let me do test keep note. And then I'm going to add a reminder. And actually, now that I say that, it's not the same symbol. I know you can't see it right now. Let me just do it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Close. All right, so I created a Google Keep note. There it just showed up. Here it is. So it's Wednesday. Tomorrow I did it for 10 o'clock, right? So everything here's the same though, right? It's the same little symbol, same color, but I click it open. Here's the difference. The difference is I titled it Test Keep Note or not. The difference is this little line right here. See, view related note and keep. So if I click it, you can't see it. I forgot. I'm only recording this tab. But the point is that note will show up. That's kind of cool. Okay. And then if you create a reminder in your Google Assistant shows up too. So hopefully that helps. I think that's all there is. It's pretty straightforward. It's like everything, like every other system though. You got to use it all the time, use it daily, find excuses to use it. And the biggest thing I can tell you with reminders and notes, and not notes, but reminders and tasks in general, is start using it for literally everything. Like you're talking to a friend at lunch and they say, hey, didn't you tell me that you read this article about, the crazy pigs? Can you send that to me? 99% of people go, yeah, I'll do that. And then they keep talking. You know what I do? I say, sure will. And I literally make sure on my phone, they see me. I say, yeah, hold on a second. Either talk to my phone, which is probably what I would do, or just which I'll show you how to do it in another video. But the point is, I want them to even see me make a note. That, oh, yep, send article about crazy pigs to George. Done. And then what the thing is, I can now relax and have my lunch and talk about everything else and not get stressed over it. It's such a great system when you get, and I've been doing that for 20 years, when you get used to that and they know that, wow, he took my request seriously. He actually wrote it down. Now, of course, you still got to do it, but I'm telling you, it makes a difference. Anytime, anything that you need to do so that you can just free your mind. And that's why I tell people too, the reps that I'm working with, if you don't put it in the calendar, like if you want to talk to me or something, it sounds arrogant. I mean it like that, but I'm saying if it was up to me, I would train and talk to people all day long, which I do to a large degree. But what I am saying though is, hey, you got to set the appointment up or the calendar invite using Calendly, because if it's not on my calendar, it's not getting done. If I look at my calendar and it's a blank day, I'm gonna do my reminders and I'm done. I'm goofing off, right? But I give myself permission to do that because I have a system where I'm arduently putting everything I need to do in there. Every appointment, I had a client just today message me and said, hey, I want to meet with you to do a living trust, and a friend of mine's coming over. We'll invite you and Isla to dinner. Guess what I did? Created a calendar invite. Right after he messaged me and I told him yes, I did a calendar invite. I invited of course I'm on it. I invited Isla, and I invited, even though Isla's right next to me, I invited Isla so that it shows up on her calendar. So because she's in the same system, and of course invited my client, even though like he messaged me, I set up the appointment and invite him. Everyone's on the same page. That's what I'm talking about. Trust me when I tell you, once you get that to a habit, it might take a few weeks to get that a habit, but it will because I've had so many people, hey, I'm going to tell me they're going to do something and they don't, because I know they're not writing it down. They don't mean to, they just don't. And I say write it down electronically, but whatever system works for you. But this system for me has been overall the best system. It's not too complicated, has just the right features. And again, I can't stress enough, it's all integrated together in the Google Calendar. So there you have it. I'm willing to do updates on this video. If you have any more questions or ideas, let me know.